We're here in studio talking water. Water is really the lifeblood of Cape Cod, and everything that we do and have around us is full of water. With me today, I have Shannon Jarbo, floodplain specialist for the Cape Cod Cooperative Extension, Barnstable County, and Daniel Flockton, aquifer protection intern. Fantastic title. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us, Paula.
Thank you, Paula.
So, Shannon, just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do at the county.
Sure. So we both work for the Cape Cod Cooperative Extension. I'm a joint extension specialist with Cape Cod Cooperative Extension and Woods Hole Sea Grant. So as floodplain specialist, what I do is help all of the towns and residents, whoever has any issues or questions with any flood-related issues. So it could be flood insurance, floodplain building regulations, all kinds of elevation issues that people might have, or any flooding questions in general.
And an aquifer protection intern. Again, fancy title. I love it.
It's
Daniel,
very fancy.
what do you do as an intern over there at the county?
So I work with the Hazardous Waste and Materials Program. My supervisor, Calliope, and what I do, the first part of my internship, I have built a database of environmentally focused organizations, environment and water on the Cape. So both municipal, like your natural resource departments, and nonprofit, like your land trusts and that sort of thing. And the second half has been working towards building a workshop, which we're going to put on, involving chemical safety and climate change preparedness, and how chemicals affect all of us, and how we can all work together to reduce the risk of polluting the water, which all goes back into our aquifer, which we drink from.
So I have to tell you, this particular workshop that you've put together, the chemical safety and climate change preparedness, it's going to be at West Barnstable Community Building over on Meeting House Way. This is really cool. So let's back up a little bit and talk about the need for this workshop.
Well, as I said, chemicals are all around us. They affect all of us, even things as seemingly mundane as paint thinner and gasoline. If there's a flood or some kind of event and it gets into the water, it goes right back into our aquifer. So an aquifer is basically where groundwater stores underground, and it's where we get our drinking water from. And on Cape Cod, it's sole source aquifer, meaning it's our only source of drinking water. So if we contaminate it, that's a big problem.
Right.
It's also unconfined, meaning that unlike drilling into bedrock to get water, it's recharged all the time by rainwater. So that same flow of water makes it easy for pollutants to get into the water. So again, it's easily polluted and it's our only source of water. So we need to protect it, and chemicals are all around us.
Right. So who really is the target for this workshop? Is it businesses? Is it residents? Is it municipalities?
I'll have Daniel take that one.
Yeah.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Everyone's welcome to come. We have sort of geared our invitation lists towards municipalities, businesses, and nonprofits, because they're larger organizations that have the resources that can sort of then spread the word throughout the community. But as I said, chemicals are everywhere. We all use them in our daily lives, so anyone is welcome to come.
What we really want to do is make sure that people are aware of the fact that they have these chemicals, have them think about what could happen if we do have a flood or any sort of other event where those chemicals could get out of where they're stored right now. And we want to be able to help folks think about their alternatives or just different ways to store those chemicals and just what they actually have that could potentially become hazardous.
All right. And the speaker lineup is really, you got an A-list coming here. So tell us kind of who's going to be there and give us this information.
So the who's who, basically. I'm going to give a little bit of information on the aquifer to prime the event. Then we're going to have our lovely Shannon speak a little bit about her expertise with flooding and the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program. After that, we're going to have Tiffany Skogstrom up from Boston from the Office of Technical Assistance come and speak about her office, which provides free confidential services to businesses. They'll do on-site assessments to see what kind of toxins you have on-site, how you can reduce those, alternatives you can use, how to store them properly, and how her office also focuses on incorporating toxins reduction and chemical safety into emergency preparedness planning. For example, is your business on a floodplain? Is there another business with toxic chemicals right nearby? They even have an interactive map that businesses can use and emergency planners can use. And then our final speaker, Rick Ferreira, he is from the Taunton Emergency Management Agency, and he's coming because they've worked with Tiffany in her office in the past, actually implementing these programs in the Taunton area. And he's going to speak a little bit about how they've actually engaged with businesses in the community in practice.
Right. It's interesting too as we come back to what these chemicals could be. Looking at the list, is lawn and garden products. I mean, insecticides and pesticides. That's stuff we all store on the floors of our basements or in our sheds.
Right,
I
yep.
mean, that's something. It may not be in the house. It might be outside, out of sight, out of mind. Right.
Yep. Even things like flea and tick treatment can also be a hazardous material that might be in the home. It could be in the shed, it could be in the garage, it could be in the basement, and wherever you store it, you want to be conscious of what could happen to that.
Yeah, and I'm also businesses themselves. We think, oh, it's automotive, right? That's the only one, or maybe it's a landscaping company with their stuff. But almost every business probably has some of these chemicals.
Oh, absolutely. Certain things, dry cleaners, jewelers, sawmills. You pretty much name a business, they probably have some kind of chemical that can pollute the water supply.
Right.
And even you look, at the extension, you look at our cleaning products under the sink. Anything that you would have in a household, you probably have in your office too, in terms of household cleaners and things like that. So
Right.
yeah, everyone has these.
Right. So climate safety, but the title is climate change preparedness. So how does that all tie together?
Sure. So thinking specifically about flooding. So we're looking at various types of flood events. So of course we have coastal floods here. We saw last winter several nor'easters. We can get just the right setup. And if we have a hurricane, then we could have some really significant flooding. We have sea level rise. We're starting to see more high tide. Just the past couple weeks, we had some really high tides. And then another thing that we're starting to see more of as well is these heavy precipitation events. These are really just picking up over the past few years, and people who are far away from the coast are starting to experience flooding. So people that didn't even think that they had to think about flood issues because they were far away from the source of flooding being the ocean, now have to start thinking about it. So anyone with a basement, if you're at the bottom of a hill, even if you're at the top of the hill, we're starting to see flooding in all kinds of crazy places because of this heavier precipitation. And with climate change, we're expecting that we're going to see more of these heavy single events where so much rain comes down, it just can't infiltrate into the ground fast enough, and it starts to cause damage to homes.
That's just crazy.
It is. It is.
Let's talk a little bit about the municipality aspect of this. So, municipalities want their residents, our mission is to keep our residents safe, to make sure that they have a good quality of life. How is something like this going to help them if they go to a workshop like this?
So to start, if we get municipalities to attend, this is going to help them open their eyes to what the potential issues are. So I work with towns a lot and town staff a lot with explaining flood issues, but this is another aspect. This is a great way that different parts of Cape Cod Cooperative Extension expertise are coming together and working together to share that information with folks. And this is the start of a conversation. So we're also going to be able to work that into the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program that a lot of the towns have gotten grants, planning grants for the MVP process, and that helps them look at resiliency and climate issues and start to address those. So this will be a great way to incorporate some new ideas and some new thoughts and ways to address hazards into those plans.
All right. And as an intern, Daniel, I'm curious of how you got interested in protecting our aquifer.
Well, I actually come from Carver, not that far from here. We have a similar sole source aquifer, and we have agriculture with cranberry bogs all over our town, Cranberry, USA.
Right.
We face the same kinds of problems with pesticides and those kind of things. So I've always had some kind of appreciation for protecting the natural environment, particularly water, and this kind of translated very easily.
Right. And the work that you're doing here, how is that going to help you as you go forward in your career?
Well, as far as learning how government works, how to coordinate a media campaign, how to sort of wrangle everyone together to actually get a big project like this done, those are skills that will be applicable in any career path I choose.
That's fantastic. You're lucky.
I
Calliope's
know,
lucky.
yep.
I mean, you know.
He's a great addition.
A great addition. What else do you want people to know about this particular event or what your departments are doing?
Anything you can think of about this particular event?
Well, I'll reiterate when it is, just to tell you folks. It's on Wednesday, December 12th from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. in West Barnstable at the West Barnstable Community Building. We have a great lineup of speakers sort of telling a story of what can happen with chemicals and how to have chemical safety in our everyday lives. That's why
fantastic.
someone should come.
I'd like to add that it's a great opportunity to learn what the county is doing for the residents. We do a lot of great things at the county, particularly with hazardous waste and with flooding as well. So it's a great introduction to what we do for folks at the county.
Great. So December 12th, the West Barnstable Community Building. It's going to be at 9:30 a.m. to 11:30. And chemical safety and climate change preparedness. It's really important.
It is.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you,
Thanks
Paula.
for having us, Paula.